Live from the largest news team on local television, the combined resources of KCOY 12, Central Coast Local News, and KEYT News Channel 3. Your news starts now.
Cheers and jubilation at Trump headquarters in New York City tonight. It looks like the Republican candidate for president is well on his way to the White House. And just blocks away, Clinton supporters devastated. The final results are not yet in tonight, but several key swing states have already slipped away. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our special edition of 2016 coverage.
We will continue to monitor the presidential election for you, and if anything happens, we will go back to network coverage. But in the meantime, we have team coverage of our local races with reporters up and down the Central Coast.
That's right, and we want to introduce our political analyst, Jerry Roberts. So glad that you are here. We have so much to run by you coming up in just a few moments. But first, a look at the race for president.
And it is still 244 electoral votes for Donald Trump, 215 for Hillary Clinton. And of course, you need 270 to cap this thing off. It has been right there for the last hour or so, depending on which news organization you're following.
Yeah, we've been sitting here watching the TVs and the progress of this. Nothing really has happened for the last hour or so. Everybody's kind of on standby right now, aren't we?
It's all about Pennsylvania. The New York Times called Pennsylvania, which if everybody goes along and if that turns out to be true, then Trump will be the president. I think Michigan's still hung up in Wisconsin. But the fact that we're talking about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania being in play and possibly and likely going Republican is just really had been not something people would have imagined 12 hours ago. These have been Democratic strongholds forever. She was polling well there. They were a firewall, and now they're gone.
Well, a lot of people have been talking about how the numbers have just been blown out of the water. I mean, whatever people thought was going to happen hasn't happened.
Yeah, I think that it's the intensity of the Trump voter who is overwhelmingly white. But I think, from our perspective, again, Hillary Clinton is winning 60% of the vote in California. Californians are voting for a lot of things that Trump hates. Gun control, higher taxes for public schools and for public health programs and so on. So it's really a mirror image of what's happening in the country and what's happening here in California in terms of policies that people believe in.
Okay, and we'll keep monitoring the situation. Of course, we could talk to you for another 3 hours about this, and we're going to be talking to you for days and weeks and months, I'm certain. California voters, though, tonight elected the state's first new U.S. senator in 24 years. Voters also made history in the process. Kamala Harris is the first black politician to represent California in the Senate. Harris received the president's support. Her opponent, Loretta Sanchez, was hampered by an underfunded campaign. The race was the first major test of the state's top two primary system. Voters passed this in 2010 to reduce partisan influence of Democratic and Republican parties.
Okay, and we're now going to go to Tracy Lair, who is with Salud Carball and his supporters tonight. They're set up at the Mill Business Center in Santa Barbara. Tracy.
I am here at the Democratic Party. They've been waiting for Salud Carbajal all night. Representative Lois Capps just introduced him, and he thanked the crowd, and now I have his family on the podium behind him, and I have the congressional representative-elect here with me. You are a bright spot for these folks here. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm feeling very good, very optimistic, but there's still a number of votes that need to be counted, so we're not over the finish line just yet.
I heard you talking about your first 100 days, talking about the environment. What do you want to say about your first 100 days if you go to Washington?
Well, there's so many issues that I heard about as I traverse the Central Coast. But as it comes to the environment, I promised that one of the first pieces of legislation I would move forward is to ban offshore oil drilling off our coast.
Now, you might end up in a complete, Senate and House of Republican majority. How will you reach across the aisle?
Well, I will do what I've done in local government, work with anyone and everyone who's willing to work with me, who's willing to put working families, middle-class families in our nation and here on the Central Coast as priority one over party. And I'm willing to work with everyone who's willing to help me do that.
And just wrapping now, you have your family behind you. What would this mean to your parents? I know you were born in Mexico, raised in Oxnard, a gaucho. What does this mean to your ancestors?
Well, my parents have long passed away, and I know they would be very proud. I think they are looking down on me from the stars, and feeling very good that the hard work that they did not go in vain.
All right, thank you so much. We're here at the Democratic Party at the Mill, and we'll have more for you when we tell you more numbers. Reporting live in Santa Barbara, I'm Tracy Lair.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. And John Palminteri joins us now live outside Benchmark on State Street with Justin Farid.
And tonight, if you thought it was a white knuckle ride on the national level, it has been that way locally in the 24th Congressional District for Republican Justin Farid. We're here at his party here at the Benchmark Eatery. He is talking to some of his supporters now. And Justin, if we can pull you away here live on TV, a little while ago you gave a speech and you said you were in striking distance. Tell me what you know that we don't.
Well, I think we've got a great opportunity here, and I'm excited about seeing what the final results are going to look like. I know it's going to be a very long night, potentially a long week before we get final numbers in.
Some of your supporters say that some of the ballots that you are most counting on still aren't in yet. Do you know much about that?
I don't. I can't speak to that. All I know is we had a very excited crowd here tonight, and a lot of people that are very optimistic about what's...
Where do you think you made a difference to gain votes that you needed to gain in a district that had been held by a Democrat for 20 years?
Sure. I mean, the model of this campaign from the very beginning was building from the bottom up, getting people from all different backgrounds involved and active in this campaign, and I think we successfully did that. And we're able to build a base that didn't exist before. I think we're going to see some numbers in places that you wouldn't traditionally see somebody with a Republican asterisk before their name get votes.
And you told me many times you weren't necessarily riding on the coattails of anything happening nationally. You really wanted the local people to vote about local issues.
Well, the most important thing is recognizing that we need to have strong representation to the House of Representatives in Congress, that needs to be the body that is held accountable to lay the directive of how we're governed, to solve the policies or problems that we have with solutions that really work for the people that have hired you for the job, and that's the folks here on the Central Coast.
And that's what he wants to do, and he says there's still a lot of ballots coming in tonight, and maybe some of those that were cast today that might still come into the days ahead that might make a difference. For Justin Farid, the Republican candidate for the 24th Congressional District. Thanks, Justin. I'm John Palminteri at the Benchmark Eatery in downtown Santa Barbara. I'll send it back up to you.
Okay, thank you, John. And we've got these numbers to show you. Salute Carbajal garnering 54% of the vote. Justin Farid, 46% in that district race.
And this just in, the campaign chairman for the Hillary Clinton campaign has told her supporters to head home for the night because several states are too close to call. You see them leaving the arena there in New York, which was packed full of supporters. You saw some crestfallen looks on their faces earlier as Hillary Clinton is trailing by 244 to 215 electoral votes. So this pretty much means we do not expect Hillary Clinton to concede the race tonight. Too many races too close to call.
In fact, saying that Hillary Clinton will not make any sort of announcement tonight. A lot of tears could be seen among that huge group there. So, again, we will keep monitoring for you. But as of now, no word from Hillary Clinton or her campaign. We want to go now to News Channel 3's Dave Alley and supporters of the 35th District Assembly candidate Jordan Cunningham. Hi, Dave.
Good evening. Yes, we're at the Jordan Cunningham headquarters. We're in downtown Paso Robles. We have Jordan right here with his wife, Shauna, his son, Tyler, other three children, I guess, supposedly in bed. But right now we've got Mr. Cunningham. Right now the numbers are looking pretty good for you. Right now leading your Democratic challenger, Don Ortiz-Legg, by 54-46 percentage. You said you were cautiously optimistic all day long. How are you feeling right now after 11 o'clock?
The optimism grows with every vote count, so I think hopefully the numbers hold. They look pretty good.
First major political race. What's it been like for you to see those numbers come rolling in over the last few hours?
Well, it's super exciting and very humbling. I mean, regardless of how it turns out, I've got the votes of a lot of people here on the Central Coast who I'm just very thankful that they trusted me and they saw through some of what was being said. And if I'm elected, if this holds, then I'm gonna work hard for everybody on the Central Coast, whether they voted for me or not. And in 2 years, I plan on coming back and asking the voters to renew the mandate. I think we've got a lot of challenges here on the Central Coast. We've got to increase our water supply. We've got to improve career and technical education schools, and we've got to improve our small business climate. And those are the three main areas I'm going to work on, and I will work with anybody that wants to do those things.
Now, this Assembly District right here, number 35, as we know, all of San Luis Obispo County, part of Santa Barbara County, this is a big race that has statewide implications.
Well, we saw a lot of outside money pour into it, and I think they're really what I was trying to offer the voters, and what it looks like they may have chosen is a check and a balance, and somebody who's going to go up there to Sacramento and make sure that the state government stays accountable to the people.
It looks like you are, right now, as the numbers hold, will be heading up to Sacramento again. Jordan Cunningham leading 54 to 46% in his race with Don Ortiz-Legg. That's the latest here from Paso Robles. Reporting from Paso Robles, Dave Alley, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Dave. And Keith Carls is live at the Ortiz-Legg election night party in San Luis Obispo, which is winding down. Keith.
Well, CJ, Don Ortiz spent the past 2 hours thanking her supporters here at the San Luis Obispo Elks Club, which, as you can see behind me, has now closed up for the night, and everybody else has gone home. Now, Don Ortiz-Legg has acknowledged that the early returns are not promising, but she's not yet ready to concede the outcome of this race. Now, she says she's proud of her campaign of pledging to help local veterans bring good-paying jobs to the 35th District while preserving the environment with clean energy ideas like solar power. Now, Ortiz-Legg said she, as a newcomer to running for public office, may have made some mistakes, but she insists she ran an open and honest campaign. Now, Ortiz-Legg had the support of local and statewide labor unions. She has now gone home for the night. She told me before she left that she plans to watch the returns come in overnight and early tomorrow morning before she makes any other announcement about this race. Live in San Luis Obispo, Keith Carls. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. Just an update on the presidential race, 244 to 218 on the count right now, according to CBSNews.com. And again, Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, John Podesta, told all the supporters to go home for the night. Nothing is going to be decided from their point of view this evening. All right, there's a lot of ballot propositions, 17 of them in California. We're going to discuss those, plus Alan will have his forecast when we come back.
Recreational marijuana will soon be legal in California. I'm hearing a double audio. Is that normal? A reverberation? Yeah, I can hear you. You hear me? Well, I'm hearing like an echo. Is that normal? Okay, thank you.
Check, check, 1, 2, 3, check, check.
California voters decided several major propositions tonight. One of the most talked about, Prop 64, which legalizes recreational marijuana here.
Elise Martinez is live in Santa Barbara. She has a closer look at that proposition and others. Elise?
Recreational marijuana will soon be legal in California. Prop 64 passed with 55% of the vote. Now people aged 21 and over can possess and smoke pot. However, it's still off limits in public places. Pot will be heavily taxed and regulated. Prop 63 is a gun and ammunition control initiative. If it passes, it would require background checks for the purchase of ammunition and would also ban large capacity magazines. Stealing a gun would also be a felony. Right now, Prop 63 is leading with 63% of the vote. Now let's take a look at Prop 62. A yes on Prop 62 would repeal the death penalty. California's more than 700 inmates on death row would be resentenced to life in prison. Right now, 55% are no votes. And finally, Prop 65 would direct stores to give money made by selling carry-out bags to a special fund. Right now, Prop 65 is undecided. Prop 67 would uphold the plastic bag ban and stop sale of single-use bags at most stores nationwide. Right now, yes on 67 is leading with 51% of the vote. And to look at the results for all 17 propositions, you can check out our website or our mobile app. Back to you.
Bonds in just a moment. First, though, let's talk about the weather. We go to the First Alert Weather Center on this warm November day, and our chief meteorologist, Alan Rose. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Scott. Yeah, a few things to get through really quickly. First, the heat. Today's highs well into the 80s and even 90s out there. Could be even hotter with tomorrow's forecast. Right now, cooling down to the 60s and upper 50s across the South Coast. 54 in Santa Ynez, 55 in Santa Maria, and 57 in San Luis Obispo. Story number 2 tonight, we've seen the development of some dense fog out there across the Central Coast, and it looks like this could impact parts of the Santa Ynez Valley as we head past midnight. You can see the visibility down under a mile in many spots and pretty much at zero, only a few hundred yards out there in the Santa Maria area. And because of the poor visibility, the slick roads that are possible with the dense fog, we are under advisory here until 9 a.m. Wednesday, and high surf expected for the Central Coast until 9 o'clock Thursday night, and for the South Coast in Ventura County, high surf and dangerous rip currents beginning tomorrow morning and lasting through Thursday night. Still talking about this blocking ridge of high pressure. That's going to build into the forecast area through Saturday, bringing some heat and keeping those temps hottest through at least the next couple of days. In Santa Barbara, we're at 90 tomorrow, 85 on Thursday, down into the 70s, though, as we head towards the upcoming weekend. So there is a cool down on the way, but first, a few more hot days to get through. 85 in Santa Maria, then 83 Wednesday, Thursday. Ventura, 90s tomorrow with some Santa Ana winds, still in the 80s on Thursday. And in San Luis Obispo, upper 80s tomorrow, but down to the 70s as we head towards the upcoming weekend. Send it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Alan. And now to school bonds in North Santa Barbara County.
Yep, there are a number of school districts that are looking for more money in the form of increased property taxes. We look at Measure H, Santa Maria Joint Union High School District with 31% reporting. The voters are in support of it by 54 to 46%. As far as Santa Barbara High School District, Measure I, voters overwhelmingly in favor of that, 67% supporting giving more money to the high school district in Santa Barbara.
And we're going to go to Sean Larson now, who's been following those bond measures. And Sean, what's the latest tonight?
Hey guys, there were 3 major school bonds in the Lompoc and Santa Maria Valley that were on the ballot today. The biggest one being right here in Santa Maria, a $114 million school bond. Teachers and administrators really pushing for these to pass today, but it's looking like we might not know the results until tomorrow morning. Measure H here in Santa Maria that I was just talking about, that $114 million school bond measure, was proposed by the Santa Maria Joint Union High School District just down the road in Guadalupe. They're hoping that their $11.5 million school bonds pass. And in Lompoc, about 30 minutes away from here, they're waiting to find out about their $65 million school bond. These schools are in need of everything from new classroom buildings to new computers. And for all 3 of these bond measures, property owners would pay about $30 per every $100,000 worth of property that they own for the next 30 years. And our political expert that you've been hearing from all night, Dan Payne, says that we might not know until tomorrow morning about these results, saying that these votes are actually being brought down in a county vehicle all the way down to Santa Barbara for a final count. For now, that's the latest here in Santa Maria. Sean Larson, let's toss it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Sean, thank you very much. We're going to talk Santa Maria mayor's race when we come back. First, we look at some more results here. Other mayor races beginning in Atascadero. We'll be right back.
Mike, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Live here at the Elks Lodge where the celebrations were ongoing all night. You won in a landslide? Okay.
Mic check. Mic check, mic check. Hello, hello, hello.
Just want to make sure that your stuff's not frozen. Are you sitting?
Everybody, we're going to take a look now at the City of Santa Maria mayor's race. Alice Patino, 75%. Will Smith, 25%. That's with 10% of the precincts reporting.
Patino completing her first 4-year term as mayor of the most populous city in Santa Barbara County, and she is comfortably in control of that race.
And we want to check in live now with Michael Coglione in Santa Maria. Michael?
Melissa, Scott, the feeling here at the Elks Lodge in Santa Maria is definitely one of celebration, as it looks like incumbent Alice Patino is definitely going to win this race in a landslide. With a little less than 10,000 absentee votes cast so far, the incumbent had about a little over 7,000 votes cast in her favor, with a little more than 2,000 being cast for her challenger, Will Smith. Now, both candidates are actually former teachers in the area, and education was definitely one of the big topics during their campaigns. Now, Smith's bid for mayor was certainly marred by some of the disputes during his time on the Santa Maria Bonita School District Board, as well as the revoking of his California teaching credential just a couple of years ago. Now, Patino, was elected to her first term in 2012, and I spoke with the incumbent mayor just a little while ago, and she says she feels confident that she's going to get even more done for the community in this second term.
In Ventura County, the clerk and recorder's office is busy counting hundreds of thousands of votes.
Reporter Kelsey Gerkins joins us live from the Ventura County Government Center.
And Kelsey, it sounds like this could be a record election year for voters there as well.
Beth and CJ, the elections office is currently really busy. They are downstairs at the Ventura County Government Center counting hundreds of thousands of votes, and it was a very busy day for them today on Election Day. While it's still too early to report exactly how many of the 443,000 registered voters in Ventura County turned out today, estimates suggest it will be the biggest voter turnout to date in Ventura County. I spoke to local voters as they waited in line at the polls or dropped off their mail-in ballots here at the elections office to find out why they were voting during this election.
Rock the vote. Rock the vote. I want to see a female president.
Yeah, I just turned 18 about a month ago, so I was just like, yes, I can vote.
Because I've always voted since I turned 18, and it's a privilege, and it's how our democracy works.
Because I think it's important that we do it as citizens of the country, and I think it's a good thing. People die for it, and I've been doing it since I was 18 years old.
Preliminary results are in for Ventura County's measures. So far, Measure AA, the transportation sales tax measure to improve local roads by increasing the sales tax by a ½ cent, has 57% of the vote. But under the California Constitution, it needs the support of at least 2/3 of voters to pass. Measure C, Ventura County's SOAR measure, is passing with 60% of the vote and also beating the competing measure, Measure F, Sustained VC, which currently only has 45% of the vote. Either measure needs a simple majority of just over 50% to pass, but the one with the most votes will cancel out the other. So right now it shows that Measure C will pass and SOAR will continue to 2050. Again, these are just preliminary estimates, so we'll have more details on our website. Reporting in Ventura, Kelsey Gerkins for News Channel 3.
Okay, thank you, Kelsey. We're going to send you out live right now to New York City, and we're going to, this is where Donald Trump supporters are in Midtown Manhattan waiting to celebrate. I'm sure that's what they're waiting for. We have not received word yet whether or not Donald Trump is going to come out and speak tonight. We know Hillary Clinton is not. We're just waiting to find out if Donald Trump will. So we'll have more on that coming up.
Yeah, we want to hear from you, Jerry Roberts, and chime in about this.
Well, I'm dying to hear what he's going to say. Look, this guy did not run a national unity campaign. It was very much us against them. And is he going to come out and now sign unifying themes? Is he going to continue to bash minorities and say things about women and do all of the things that he talked about?
If Trump comes out, you'll hear it here. We'll take a break and be right back.
Hey, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't change anything. Is it because of the signal here? For some reason, there's little bars underneath the screen as if it's still loading. To what on my phone? Oh, stay close to my phone. Okay.
Welcome back to our election night coverage. The current mayor of Lompoc is running against the former mayor of Lompoc.
John Lynn versus incumbent Bob Lingle. And here's a look at the numbers. Lingle with 60% of the vote, John Lynn with 40% of the vote.
And we want to go live now to Amanda Valdez. Amanda?
That's right. Good evening. So far, the numbers are showing that people here in Lompoc have voted to keep Mayor Bob Lingle in office in his mayor position right now. Now, not all of the numbers are in, but if he is elected, this will be his second term as mayor. Now, he was first elected 2 years ago to the position, and earlier tonight at his watch party, it was a packed room full of family and supporters who stand behind the mayor. He says one of the first things on his agenda, if he is reelected, is to continue working with the city's budget and help progress it forward. Now, we caught up with both candidates from the race, and Lynn tells us that he gave the voters all the information that he thought was important, and that they felt that the message, some of them might have felt that the message that Mayor Bob Lingle put out there was the one that they could vote for. Now, again, this would be the second time that Mayor Bob Lingle would be defeating John Lynn. For now, we're live in Lompoc. Amanda Valdez.
Okay, and this just in, Jan Marks has just won as the mayor of San Luis Obispo. So lots of mayor's races on the board tonight. That is the first one that we have been able to call. Again, we continue to wait for a potential speech from Donald Trump tonight. We take another live picture from New York. You see a sea of those red Make America Great hats spread out across that ballroom, and everybody waiting for Donald Trump, who has a significant lead but has not secured anything yet. His supporters all waiting to hear from him. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We just received word that the Associated Press has reported that Donald Trump has been elected president.
He has won the state of Wisconsin. He is expected to speak shortly. You will hear it as we turn things back over to network coverage in just a moment.
But first, we want to check back with Jerry Roberts about all of this. Unprecedented.
It's extraordinary and probably unprecedented. And no one who got up this morning thought that Donald Trump would be president and that the Republicans would control both houses. of Congress. And, you know, you see the markets all over the world are already being roiled. There's a lot of uncertainty about this. But again, I think the story of the night is look at California, look at Santa Barbara, 60% for Hillary Clinton. Yes on taxes for public schools. Yes on gun control. So California, again, the great exception about what's going on in the rest of the country. But someone like Salud Carbajal now going back as a Democrat to the House, not going to have a lot of power. Democrats have less power than they have at any time in memory.
Okay. Well, tomorrow's going to be just as interesting.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to take you back to network programming.